Hello Crafty friends, I'm Lien and I'm so happy you're joining me again today on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Last week I shared a super fun ombre stamping technique that is perfect to do with your layering stamps, and this week I am stepping it up a little bit by doing it in a rainbow effect. So it's essentially the same technique, just add in more colors. Now I'm using the Imperial Garden layering stamp set today by Crafty Meraki, and I'm starting out by stamping the outline in Versamark ink onto a couple of pieces of paper. I always like to make multiples when I'm doing layering stamps because that really speeds up the process. I will stamp more leaves than flowers because I always use more leaves than I do flowers. These flowers are quite big, so you can just use one on a card and that will fill up your card nicely. Now I'm stamping these in Versamark ink, like I mentioned, onto Clairefontaine DCP 250 GSM cardstock. This is great cardstock for any inky techniques. It's really smooth. I really love it. And because I stamped in Versamark ink, I can emboss these outline images with the Wow Metallic Silver Regular Embossing Powder. Long name, but a really great powder. Now, there are some pros and cons to using embossing powder for this outline layer. The big pro is that it's so easy to line up any subsequent layers because you can feel the stamps slot into place into the embossing areas. The con is that the embossing will resist the ink, so the ink will sit on top of it and it might smudge. It smudged a little bit with me and I was really careful, so you might want to be aware of that. You could do this outline layer last, but again, it is really handy to line up all your other layers with. Now, while I was babbling on, I stamped the first layer pretty much already, and I did that in rainbow order. I just added the inks in rainbow order to my stamp. I didn't do anything fancy. I just applied them straight from the ink cube. You can do this with ink pads as well, but if you are worrying about inking up too much with one color, if you're using full-size ink pads, you might want to use a tool to apply the ink to the stamp. A blending brush will work, or an ink dabber will work as well. I do stamp this a couple of times in the same layer stamp. I don't add all the colors at once because I want a little bit more control over where the colors will go. And the beauty about doing any ombre stamping with layering stamps is that it's super easy. Because you're adding multiple layers, it's really simple to get a nice ombre effect. I'm lining up the third and the fourth and final layer of this stamp set, and I can just add in my colors as usual. I go one tone darker again. I just add them in rainbow order once again, but as you might notice, I can't. It's physically impossible to ink up the same area with the same color exactly on every layer. So your colors between layers overlap differently, and that creates a really nice ombre effect. Now, what you saw me do with that towel over there is dab away some of the excess ink that is sitting on top of the embossing powder. And I recommend using paper towel for this. Instead, I didn't have any on hand and I was too lazy to go get one, but that would work better, definitely. And that should keep your inks from smudging over the embossing powder. Now I die cut a panel with the Dancing Feathers mini slimline die by Crafty Meraki, also from the latest release. And I'm stamping one of the sentiments from the Angel Wings stamp set on there in VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I embossed that with Wow Clear Gloss Superfine Embossing Powder to give it a nice glossy shine. Obviously, I did trim that mini slimline panel down to fit onto an A2 sized card, and that leaves a nice white margin around the panel. That subtle stitched detail just gives such a nice background to any of your cards. I really love stitching dies. I have an entire video coming up on stitched dies as well, and something really fun you can do with those, other than use them for amazing backgrounds. I'm just adding in all my images. I propped the rows up on some foam tape and I attached the leaves just with some glue. I used the Barely Art Precision Craft glue for this because that's what I have, but you can use whatever liquid glue works for you. Now, one more thing from this new release, one more amazing shiny thing are the gems, and these are the Blue Lagoon Meraki Sparkle. They are so gorgeous. I really love the Meraki Sparkle gems. They are higher quality than I've ever seen in card making before. I'm not sure if I'm just missing out, but these are amazing. And of course, you know me, I like to make some matching envelopes, and I'm making one out of Clairefontaine DCP 250 GSM cardstock because I will do some stamping on this. I just folded an A2 sized envelope with my We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and I adhered that together with the Barely Art Precision Craft glue. I just put that in my Misti, lined up the outline stamp, and I'm doing some rainbow stamping with that. Just stamping once, and that was enough. Look at that fun rainbow flower on the envelope. Matches your design just a little bit to still keep the card a nice surprise. I really love me some rainbow roses. I hope you like it too. If you like this card and this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. Also, definitely let me know if you have any questions. I check in regularly on the comments on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel, so I'll definitely be around to check on those. And of course, you can also subscribe to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Another couple of designers are on here regularly to share their inspiration with the gorgeous Crafty Meraki products, and it's definitely worth the subscribe. And if you want to be notified every time someone uploads a video to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel, you should hit that bell button down below, and that will give you a notification for every new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.